The first time I saw her, she was sitting alone on a swing, her small hands gripping the chains tightly, rocking back and forth in silence. There was something about the way she moved that made the world feel heavy around her. People whispered, "She's never spoken a word." And yet, her eyes, though she couldn't see, seemed to search for something, someone, anyone who might understand her. Her father, a wealthy CEO, tried everything. Tutors, therapists, special programs, nothing worked. She had grown up in a house filled with luxury, but also with a silence so thick it could almost be touched. And in all that quiet, she had stopped trying to speak. Until a single dad entered their lives, and with just a few words, everything began to change. Before we dive into this incredible story, make sure you hit that subscribe button and click the bell so you never miss a story that can touch your heart. Give this video a like if you believe kindness can change lives, and leave a comment sharing a moment when someone's words lifted you. Welcome to Earthlines, where stories remind us of the good in humanity. It all began on a sunny afternoon in a quiet park. The blind girl, named Emily, was 8 years old. Her father, Mr. Harrison, had arranged for her to attend an outdoor class for children with special needs. He wanted to give her experiences outside their mansion, but Emily had learned to keep to herself. Most kids her age were laughing and playing, but she stayed on the sidelines, feeling like an outsider in a world she couldn't see. That day, a single dad named James had brought his son, Ryan, to the same park. Ryan was playful and curious, tugging at his father's hand and pointing excitedly at swings and slides. James had noticed Emily immediately. Something about her silent presence caught his attention. He could sense the loneliness that lingered like a shadow around her. James walked over, gently introducing himself. "Hi there, I'm James, and this is Ryan," he said with a warm smile. Emily didn't respond. She simply tilted her head slightly, listening. Most adults would have left it at that. But not James. He had a way of seeing people, really seeing them, that made you feel like your heart could speak without words. He crouched down to her level. "Would you like to play with us?" he asked softly. No answer. Emily just hugged her knees closer, her small frame tight with uncertainty. But James didn't give up. He pulled a small, bright red ball from his bag and rolled it gently toward her. It stopped at her feet. Emily's fingers brushed it lightly, and she gave a tiny, almost imperceptible smile. That small gesture was like a spark in the dark. Over the next few weeks, James returned to the park almost every day. He didn't pressure Emily, didn't demand words. Instead, he offered patience, laughter, and an unexpected sense of safety. He taught Ryan to include her in games, to ask her gently how she felt. Slowly, Emily began to respond, not with words, but with gestures. A nod, a laugh, a small hand reaching for the ball. Her father noticed the change immediately. Emily came home that day with red cheeks and sparkling eyes. "She laughed today," he whispered to his wife in amazement. She really laughed. For the first time in years, Mr. Harrison felt hope. Then came the day that changed everything. James was sitting on a bench, Ryan at his side, and Emily approached him with a quiet determination. She touched the ball, then his hand, then paused. James leaned in, his voice gentle but steady. "You're safe here. You can tell me anything, Emily." And then, the words came. Not loud, not forceful, just a soft, trembling voice. "I'll like you." It was only 3 words, but to everyone present, it felt like the first sunrise after a lifetime of darkness. Emily's voice had been trapped in silence, but kindness had unlocked it. She had felt seen, accepted, and safe in a way she had never known. James didn't respond with fanfare. He smiled warmly and said, "I like you too, Emily. Thank you for sharing that with me." And in that simple exchange, Emily realized something profound. Words were not frightening when spoken with kindness. From that day on, Emily began to speak more often. First in small phrases, then in full sentences. She told her father about the games she played, about Ryan's jokes, and about the feelings she could now share. Her father, who had worried that her silence would never end, wept with joy. "All it took," he told James one evening, "was your kindness." But the story didn't end there. Emily's journey showed everyone around her that kindness is not just a gesture, it's a bridge. A bridge between fear and trust, isolation and connection. It reminded Mr. Harrison that love is not measured by wealth or resources, But by patience and empathy, as Emily's voice grew stronger, so did her confidence. She started to attend more social activities, engaging with children and adults alike. And every time she spoke, she carried with her the memory of that single dad who saw her, really saw her, before anyone else did. James never sought recognition or reward. To him, it was simply an act of humanity. He had offered patience, warmth, and a listening ear, and in return, he had helped a child find her voice. Sometimes, the most profound changes in life come not from grand gestures, but from small, consistent acts of kindness. Over time, Emily's story spread. People in the community were inspired by the way a simple act of compassion had transformed a life. Parents began to understand the importance of listening. Children learned that empathy can break barriers, and families realized that patience often speaks louder than words. One evening, as Emily recited a poem she had written herself, her father whispered to James, "You didn't just help her speak. You taught all of us how to truly listen." And James smiled, shaking his head humbly. "She had the voice all along. I just helped her find the courage to use it." The beauty of this story is not just in Emily's first words, or even the laughter that followed. It's in the reminder that each of us has the power to change someone's life through simple acts of kindness. A smile, a gentle word, or a moment of patience can open doors we never knew existed. And the impact doesn't stop there. Emily, now a little girl full of confidence and joy, began showing kindness herself. She comforted children who were shy, reached out to those who felt left out, and shared her own story to inspire others. The kindness she received had become a ripple, spreading far beyond her own life. Her father often reflected on how he had tried everything to help Emily speak, yet it was not his wealth, his influence, or his knowledge that made the difference. It was the humanity of a stranger who treated his daughter with respect, empathy, and patience. That's the lesson at the heart of this story. No matter who you are, or how small your action may seem, kindness has the power to unlock hidden potential. And in a world that often feels rushed and disconnected, Emily's journey reminds us all to slow down, to listen, and to care. To remember that behind every silent struggle, there may be a heart waiting to be reached. And sometimes, the smallest gestures, a word, a smile, a simple act of patience, can change the course of a life forever. So, the next time you see someone alone, or someone struggling to be heard, remember Emily and James. Remember that kindness is more than just a nice idea. It's a force that can move mountains, heal wounds, and bring light to the darkest corners of our lives. Because at the end of the day, Emily's first words weren't just words. They were proof that love, patience, and empathy can break barriers stronger than fear. They were a testament to the fact that even the quietest voices can be heard when met with kindness. And that's why we should all strive to be a little more like James. To notice the quiet ones, to reach out without expectation, to speak words that heal instead of words that judge, to offer the kind of understanding that changes lives, not just for a moment, but forever. So today, carry this story with you. Let it remind you that every kind word, every gentle action, every moment of patience matters. You may not realize it at the time, but someone's life, just like Emily's, could be transformed by the kindness you offer. And in giving that kindness, you might just find that the world becomes a brighter, more hopeful place, one small act at a time, because kindness, no matter how small, is always heard.